Hello and welcome to this B1 Usability Package e-learning session. My name is Rasmus Wolf Jensen and the topic of this session is Recurring Invoice. We will be looking into the advanced part of setting it up and using it. So here we are back in the system where we left off. We did some invoice templates and we did the invoice wizards. You can do a few additional data. We need to talk about the update lines and we need to talk about some few configurations. First of all, we have a configuration up under Administration Add-ons Usability Package, Module Configuration, with a few setups. Some of them controls our defaults here, default open document print, default save as draft, and we have one more option that we didn't talk about before, which is alternative invoice date. What it does is, if we close and reopen our invoice wizard, here we will now get one additional setup here called alternative invoice date. If we look at our invoices again, we will see that if I run this, it would normally be on the 1st of January. That would be my invoicing day, my posting date. But it might be that you want to run on a different posting date, but so there can be several reasons. It can be that the invoicing day, the posting day, falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, and you don't want to have it happen that day, so you can actually go in and define another invoicing day. So let me say this. Let me choose here the second, let's say the 3rd of January 2011, and what will happen is that if you run this, you will see that the posting date was the 3rd of January based compared to the one we run previous, that was the 1st of January. So you can override it on the level. So let's talk about the update option. It was that inside the invoice template we had on line level, we could say that a line needed to be updated or not. It is not updated as default, but essentially what we can do is we can update 4 things about the line, all depending on which of them we have activated. The first one is the description. So we could essentially go in and say every time if we went to this one and change the description, we could have it update that as well. Similarly, we could have it update the unit price based on the business partner's price list automatically. We can update the sales employee, so if the sales employee changes here, it could automatically change on the line as well. And finally, we could update VAT group or tax group, so if the changes would happen on the business partner for the VAT group, it could be changed as well on the line. Right now I have one line here set for update, and let's try as an example to put in a new description. This will then happen either if I press this update line. If I do it like this, you'll see, okay, I need to close the templates so we don't get any missing updates. And you will now see that my template has been updated for that line. Let me just try to put it back to a new description, because during the actual invoicing you will also be prompted for this if you use it. So it will ask you, do you want to update recurring invoices lines before you actually do the invoice run. If you say yes, it will do the same as update. If you say no, you don't do it, and it will continue with the invoicing. And if you press cancel, it will simply stop the invoicing altogether, and you need to press OK again before you can begin. So that is basically what the update option does. Final thing we need to talk about is overridden descriptions. You might know that on an invoice for an item, you have the option to give it a new description. And essentially you have the same for invoice templates. And that might not be something special, but what you can do is you can use special keywords here. And for that, let me go to the help section in order to show you. Remember, always you can go to the help section by pressing F1. And in here we have the description, and it can use some special keywords. It can use the date keyword, the day, the month, and the year, days and month, days and this number as well. So, for example, many people do this for monthly runs. So let me say this was monthly, December. I could go in and say this is for that I'm in December 2010, and let's say that this is for the new invoice, the maintenance for 2011. I would go in and say year plus 1. And if it was for 2011 to 2012, I could go in and say year plus 2. Let me just turn off the update so it doesn't come in the way right here. So let's see what this would result in. Now I need to run it on December 1st, 2010. Here it is. No alternative invoice day. And we will now see that in here it will say 2011 to 2012. So essentially you can use year, year plus 1, year minus 1, and so on. You can use the days and months, how many days there are in the month, the number of the invoice day, or you can use the special date keyword, who has a lot of formatting and a lot of additional data. So there's a lot of examples here. For example, this will give you the current invoice day. This will add 1 year and 3 months and 0 days to the current day. So you have a lot of options here in order to set it up. And please look at the samples on how you actually set it up here. A very final note is about what actually happens if something goes wrong. Well, there's a transaction system inside the invoicing, and for example, let's say that this business partner is inactive. Essentially, we are not allowed to add our invoice when a business partner is inactive. So what would actually happen? So let's see that. I again run it on December the 1st, 2010. This, and let's try to run it. And we will end up with the error result here, giving us an explanation of what is wrong. You can go to the customer by this link, or you can go to the invoice template here. And what can go wrong? It can be things like the customer is not active or inactive. It could be that you use items that goes below 0 in stock. It could be that you don't have the required exchange rates for the date that you actually run the wizard. It will always give you back as much as possible on what is actually wrong. And an important thing to note is that there's a rollback system on this. So if you do 10 invoices and one or more fails, none of the invoices will be committed to the system. It will always do a rollback, so it's either all or none all the time. This concludes this session. For training material, please go to service.boyum-it.com/education, or if you want a free demo of the product, go to license.boyum-it.com/b1up. If you want to contact us, you can do it either by our sales email or our support email. Thank you for attending.